I never saw more than about a tooth worth of gold.
Oh, no, he has a huge...
No, remember it all
Cachet.
falls out?
Oh, that's what the bag is all about. Yeah, okay.
Right,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
the saddlebags. Again.
Yeah.
There was 2 saddlebags.
Yes.
Or his hair products. We don't know for sure.
Welcome to episode 77. We hope you had a great holiday season.
Episode 77 of what?
Oh, what the fuck? What?
English tea.
Walked right into it.
That's probably more like it.
Shall we restart?
No.
I think that should leave in.
I think we should leave
Unless
it in.
we
That's
do a
not the outtakes.
blooper show one day.
I have lots of them.
Let's go.
Oh, we're starting?
Yeah. Yeah, just
We're here.
welcome to What the Flicks podcast. What the Flicks podcast. I'm drinking sake because there's a fire just right up there in
Up
the
the
Hollywood
street.
Hills, right?
So we're going to talk
Which is on the other
fast.
side of
So we
several
have-
walls and we can't see it.
So if we have
Just
to
knowing
run out of
it's
here,
there.
you know why.
Yeah.
So we hope you had a wonderful holiday season. But now we're back to work. So our movies this week are this episode 77 are Sisu, Maria, Conclave, Substance, and Sasquatch Sunset. So we're beginning with Sisu, and that would be Lonnie.
Yes, that was my choice. I think I picked this one because during Christmas season, I watched Rare Exports. Just a fun movie.
Of course.
It's something they reviewed. I wasn't with the show at the time, but if you go to the very first shows, you'll see them doing their first Christmas show kind of thing. It was, I always thought, just a fun, but, violent, sort of scary Christmas movie. But it was also, there was something very heroic about it. So then I remember the guy came out with his second movie called Big Game. Now that had more crossover appeal because Samuel Jackson was in it. But it also had, the young actor, I can't even remember his name. The last name I know is, excuse me if I'm not pronouncing it right to all the people in Finland, Tomila.
Oh, yeah.
But the star of, the young boy, his last name was Tomila, but his father was also in the movie, playing his father in Rare Exports. His name was Jorma. Jorma, yeah, they always pronounce it with the
Jorma
Y. Tomila. And so he is the lead in Sisu. So I thought, here's the same director, here's this guy. And I remember it got sort of interesting reviews. I never read any reviews, but I remember seeing like, a white knuckle thriller, blah, blah, blah. So, but I just was, I guess, in the mood to watch it. And I thought, you know what? Rare Exports was so much fun. Let me see what the guy can do. So all I'm going to really tell you is the film opens. It starts with the text. And I'm going to just read the text because this is what I think the movie's about, and I don't even have to go on. They explain about how Sisu is a Finnish word that cannot be translated. So they said
That's a short text.
the explanation is basically of how you just have a white knuckle determination under diversity. In fact, and what I did too is I actually Googled it because I was curious. Like,
Me
I can't
too.
believe that this doesn't have a translation of some sort. What I liked about it is and they said something about of hopelessness, that when all hope is lost, you're still determined to finish whatever you need to do. So when I Googled the term, it mentioned how the word took on a national identity, like it represented the nation somehow. I got a contradiction. One was like in 1970 when they got their independence from Russia, and then one was after this time period, which the movie Sisu takes place. The movie takes place in 1944. They talk about a man who has decided to leave his life of war behind. The Nazis also, towards the end of the war, in which I think historically Germany and Finland were fighting the Russians, but they have now signed like some Moscow agreement. So now Finland and Moscow were allies. So Moscow told them, get rid of all the Nazis. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the movie, they do like the scorch and burn, I think he calls it, where basically, okay, we're just going to go through Lapland, all the areas we're at, just get rid of everything, burn, kill people, whatever. But there's this old man. He's, like I said, he's out there. He is gold mining, or he's sifting for gold the old-fashioned way, and then, of course, he strikes gold. Now he only has 2 companions. He has a horse and a dog. Those are his only 2 companions while he's out there. So as he gathers up his gold, and I'm assuming he's headed into town, he passes a convoy that consists of a motorcycle and a sidecar with soldiers in it, a group of soldiers in a truck, then about, I think it was 6 women in the truck behind them, which you think, oh, these are Finnish women who are basically being prisoner to help captive for sexual favors from the soldiers. And then they're followed by a tank with the commander. And again, I'm sorry about that, but that Jorma Tommi's son, who was the star of Rare Exports,
Was he?
they passed. Yeah, he was in it. He's the little guy. He's driving the tank. Yeah, that was him.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So he's on his horse. He's just going by them, and somebody's going to shoot him. But the commander says no, because he's sort of headed into. I'm assuming he's headed into a town and said, "Oh, they'll take care of it." And sure enough, he goes past there, and then maybe a couple miles down the road, he runs into a group of Nazis, and they tell him to get off his horse. They search, and they actually find the gold in his bag. And that's all I'm really going to say, because with the exception of don't become between a man and his gold. But this is a movie that we've all seen before. There's nothing new with the plot. It's like a Rambo meets John Wick. It's and you could tell in the style of, say, a Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez. But what I liked about it, it went even more to an old-fashioned kind of film. It reminded me of like the Clint Eastwood, Sergio Leone westerns, as well as Sam Fuller and Sam Peckinpah movies. I mean, this is just one of those gritty, tough guy movies that is just a classic that I think they will always have them. And of course, the fact that the bad guys are Nazis makes it even easier, because that's talk about a common enemy. That's one of them that everyone can have in a way.
And they're not very elevated Nazis, like in the piano.
Right, exactly. But I just thought this Jorma Tommi, who barely says anything throughout the entire movie, is just watching this movie, and it's, again, delightful, like a 90-something minute movie. Yeah. Gets in, tells a story, no nonsense. You don't need background stories. You don't need this. You're just seeing a tough guy who won't be separated from his goal. I really enjoyed it, and I normally don't like violent movies, but see, this is not like the type that isn't. The negative characters are just bad guys. The good guy, do you think he's a good guy? It's like, or the gold miner, is he a good guy? To me, he is.
He's a great guy.
He's just holding on to his property that he has found, but then in a way, he's sort of, I don't want to say representing his homeland, but in a way, I guess he actually is. Exactly.
I wouldn't call him nice. I would call him just. He's a just man.
Well, he was, like I said, an old soldier that they say that he decided to leave the war behind.
Oh, and he's more than a soldier. He's
well, I didn't want to mention it, like I said, but I'll go on to George.
Right.
He's the next one.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it too. I was thinking of actually, I didn't realize we mentioned that he only has like a few lines in the whole movie. I mean, that's the whole
lines.
movie. He's in the whole movie and only has a few lines. That's quite amazing, actually. Mm-hmm. Quite a feat. It reminded me of actually. I know that one of the main bad guys, because he was in that one of the movies that I did, which was also Scandinavian, with Numi Rapace, with a couple. I think it's called Road Trip. They're a couple.
Right.
They go on vacation and he's trying to kill her and she's trying to kill him.
He
was the guy.
The Nazi officer.
The Nazi officer was that was the husband.
Yeah, Ansel Henny.
Yeah, Ansel.
Yeah.
So I recognized his face right away. Those kind of, the Scandinavians, they know how to make really violent movies, but somehow make it really funny. They make it work. Like I was laughing the whole time.
You were laughing.
Most of the movie, I was laughing the whole time. I was cracking up.
I agree. I thought
you
there
laughed?
Oh, I was cracking up the whole time like with the other movie, like the couple.
Guys like to laugh at that movie.
I mean, the couple movie that they're trying to kill each other. I was laughing the whole time. And remember that, and then also there was a movie with the really famous Scandinavian actor. I forget his name. He was in Casino, I think.
Joe Pesci?
James Bond. He was kind of good-looking guy, looks like a model. But he was in there a movie about
Definitely not Joe Pesci.
bikers. He did a movie about these Scandinavian bikers. I remember that.
Oh, Mads Mill.
Yeah, Mads
That one?
Mikkelsen.
Yeah, okay. That
Mads
was
Mikkelsen.
the Danish film. Yeah,
The
yeah.
Danish film, yeah. It's also, and that was very violent, but it was very funny too. And I know
Exactly,
something about those
yeah.
guys and their movies.
Exactly.
'Cause
Yes, I agree.
Because I watch violent movies and I'm like, ooh, but this movie, I'm always laughing. I'm just getting chopped off because they do it funny. Some reason, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was that from start to beginning to end, it was just really, to me, it was like I was watching a comedy.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Bob?
I kind of agree with that. I think it's a really funny movie. I like the actors in it. I also was a big fan of Rare Imports and not as much, but still enjoyed a Big Game. But this movie was like, I was very resistant to it because everybody was saying, "Oh, Bob, yeah, this one's real violent. You're not going to like this." And I started watching it, and the guy gets a knife to his head, and I said, "This is for me. This is the way I want to see Nazis treated." And it was like it was like a movie I can't stand is the Tarantino thing, Inglourious Bastards, because it was like I thought that was irresponsible. But I loved when he did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because that's the way I wanted that story to end.
Yeah.
You know,
that was smart. That was so smart.
Yeah. And so this one is sort of like that. It's like it's a combination of a fantasy of the bad guys getting their comeuppance. When it's Nazis, it's okay, but I didn't live through Nazis. They lived through Nazis. So everybody in it I thought was terrific. I mean, it was perfectly cast. It wasn't that there were any great jobs, great acting jobs in it, but everybody was just absolutely right for the parts that they played. I thought that the guy who played the villain, he was great.
He was great.
Oh man, he was good.
Love to hate him.
And the guy who plays the hunter, although I never saw more than about a tooth worth of gold.
Oh, no, he has a huge...
No, remember it all
Cachet.
falls out?
Oh, that's what the bag is all about. Yeah, okay.
Right,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
the saddlebags. Again.
Yeah.
There was 2 saddlebags.
Yes.
Or his hair products. We don't know for sure.
But yeah, I think anybody
Cocoa butter for the face.
if this sounds like a movie you might want to see it.
Yeah, I was totally surprised how much I liked this movie.
Me
it was,
too.
it is extremely violent, but I don't know. It didn't bother me. It's like I don't know why the Finnish seem to be able to do this. Like you were talking about the
George had mentioned like Scandinavian films. They seem to have...
yeah, they seem to have this way of being very violent, but kind of funny. But by the way, this was the Lapland Wars. Finland fought with the Nazis until the very end, and then they
Right.
switched over.
Exactly.
Right? So, anyways, okay. This is it's billed as a Finnish historical action thriller
Now that seems more apropos.
because this is actually built on like that. There is actually a guy that this was patterned after.
Right.
There's actually a guy.
Well, a mythical guy, right? I mean, it wasn't
No,
a real
no.
guy.
no,
This
a
was
real guy.
a
Okay.
Finnish guy that was
Oh,
in
I
the-
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know
Says
that.
at the
I thought
end-
he was a legendary character.
No,
They made
he's
a movie
original-
about Chuck Norris.
No, but this is about it's not actually
Chuck
a
Norris never made a
situation
movie about
happened,
Chuck Norris.
but that character is built after a real character that.
So actually, like sort of a Finnish
existed.
hero then.
Yes,
right?
yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. Wow.
A Finnish folk hero.
No, he's
No,
a
there
real.
was a real
He's a
guy.
real,
Yeah.
real
But he's
guy.
still a folk hero.
Okay, he could be a folk
Okay.
hero, but he was a
Yeah.
living folk hero.
But I don't know when he fought. Like it might at that time of that movie, he might have been then. I don't think it was somebody who was like 200 years ago. This is like
Right.
You
somebody-
don't have to be old and dead to be folk hero. You can be alive and be folk
All
hero.
right, okay. Apparently, the director, Jorma Tommi, was supposed to work on a sci-fi comedy called Jerry and Miss Universe.
Oh yeah, I want to see
However,
that.
however, the whole COVID thing happened, and so he made Sisu. Okay, your Sisu is a Finnish word that doesn't have an English translation, but kind of it translates to a stoic determination, tenacity of purpose, grit, bravery, resiliency. The Finnish, this word this word expresses their national character.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
There
Well,
we
it's
go.
also
There you go.
your
Yeah.
name with the
World.
two
Yeah.
syllables reversed.
But I like it. Something like you said about hopeless.
And-
when
and-
everything seems hopeless.
and
That was the one thing.
beyond
yeah,
hopeless.
exactly.
Yeah. And Simu Hilander, who's the character that they're playing, sure exhibits this amazing Finnish characteristic. He certainly does. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And that's why it's so great. He's just unbelievable. And the bad guys are so bad. You really want them to, it's like,
Die.
you can't hurt them enough. They're
Yeah.
just so
I like
awful.
that. I like that the ladies when
But
the
they're
guy,
kind of funny too.
yeah, when the guy goes, "Why is this some kind of like he doesn't die or whatever? Or he can't." No, she's
Oh, you
like,
believe he's
yeah,
immortal?
immortal. He goes, "No, he just refuses to die."
Exactly. and
Yeah.
that's why the national identity, I thought, what brought that up, because it is reflected in those female prisoners as well, which sort of surprised me. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, I really liked the way they were, just like given an opportunity, and they were like, "Yeah, we're with you." Fatty.
Yeah, how many times can you rape somebody before they get totally upset?
He like had it with you.
I love this movie, and I wasn't planning on loving it, but the cinematography,
Oh yeah.
the guy they picked to play Sisu, and his lack of talking. No, he had 7 lines or six lines. He had 6 lines, and it was perfect. And that's what made it so dramatic, especially the cinematography. And I got to tell you,
Everything is done by the scene and his face.
yeah,
I mean, even when he's talking to the girls, he's not really talking to them. He's like,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
you know,
he doesn't talk.
You know.
He's action, right? So I really love this movie. I was really surprised, and you think it would be boring. You know, how many kills can you have? How many
Right.
how many
and he's-
action movies
and
have
he's not
I
even
seen?
saying anything throughout the entire movie.
Well,
Well, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
and
saying.
you guys kept telling me, "Oh, you're not going to like this movie, Bob," and I
Well, you
loved
know-
it.
Well, you love Sunset,
We're not-
Sasquatch Sunset, so who knows?
well, I'm
Wait
like,
until I say my piece.
You can't say anything. There is nothing
He could
you
have been
can
in South
say.
Park Sunset. He didn't talk much. He didn't talk much.
order.
No, but I was going to say,
Order in the courts.
Order.
but I was gonna say, we're talking about kills. That's one of the things I like about the Equalizer movies, and I like about this movie, as opposed to John Wick movies or some of those like The Raid,
Right.
where these movies, they're kind of, even though they're still fantasy, they're a little more realistic, where it's just one kill. Guy comes at you, they're gone.
Right.
It was John Wick. They fight for 10 hours and they're still standing up and shooting at each other, and so it's. I like those quick ones.
Yeah.
I know you
realistic.
snuck in your time there, but Bob,
Oh.
what were you gonna say?
Wait a
I
minute.
started.
Wait,
She's-
it was
it's
me.
hers. It's her.
Yeah,
This-
back up.
Never mind. Never mind.
anyway, continue, Patty, please.
Very smart to throw me off.
We were looking for a bus, but we couldn't find one.
Well, you got that one right.
But you're just saying how surprised you were by this
How
movie.
surprised I
Yeah.
was. But I usually like foreign movies.
Ah,
But that he didn't talk, that's what made the movie. And the cinematography.
Yeah,
And
Chris.
it was everything was scene, action, and you would think after a while, you know, run into 20 Nazis, kill them one at a time. It get boring after a while, but it somehow doesn't. Because they come up
It never gets
with all
old.
these great ways of killing.
That's really the funny ways he does it, like the whole thing with the mines, throwing the mines.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
it's just
well, I
very
think
clever.
that's what it was. I thought it was clever, and because you're right, it's like, you know, like I said, we've seen these movies where somebody's, like you said, indestructible. Like I said, John Wick's are really good,
I
but
love John Wick.
but just like the sort of cleverness of the tools that he had,
He
and
had
he
nothing.
knew how to use them.
Yeah, he
Well, that's
had
what I said.
nothing. That was what was
He
great.
could use a rock, and he knew how to use a rock properly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There was something sort of really clever in
Right,
how
and
the
he
movie
blows
goes
up like a
along.
guy with a mine, so that the head tells the other guy, "You go," and they're like,
No, one
It's called
thing
psyching somebody out.
Yeah.
the one thing I like about these that was so classically Finnish or Scandinavian. In other words, if I didn't even if it was dubbed, I wouldn't know this is not an American movie.
Well,
Oh,
to be
I
quite
would.
honest, I'm
I
going to
would
say
know
this.
it's not an American
Oh
movie.
yeah, right. Sorry.
I actually don't think it was dubbed. I actually think it was made in English.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
but
so.
except it
No, because
didn't have that feel.
no, I think it did only because it made sense about the Finnish people talking to the Germans, right? Having a common language they would
Right.
both know, right? But also the fact that if you notice when he speaks, it's in Finnish.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think they deliberately did that, which to me sort of threw it off. I said, why are the Nazis talking English to each other? Why are it didn't make sense to me, but I thought, because I thought I was like seeking it out. I don't want to see this dubbed. I want to see it subtitled, and I couldn't find it.
Well,
So
When
I think
when
it was, and if you look, it says in Finnish and English.
when I first saw this movie, I was like, oh, I don't want to watch this. Right? But then when you picked it,
Yeah.
of course, but I thought it would looked interesting, but I was like, I don't want to watch it. It was just one of those
Right.
beat up everybody.
Those macho male
Right,
movies,
yes.
the testosterone
And-
overflowing.
well, I have nothing against testosterone, but it's just kind of, gets boring after a while. But never
Didn't
gets
get
old,
boring
though.
here.
It never gets old for you guys, but it does for me.
Movies for guys who like movies.
But when I saw that it was based Finnish, you know what I mean? If not a Finnish movie about Finnish people, right? That I was like, okay, then I'll watch this because I always like them, and they're always really violent.
So you're saying
But
you
I
think it's an
thought-
unfinished masterpiece?
Or in this case, a Finnish
I thought it
masterpiece.
was very Finnish. I would be surprised if the writer isn't Finnish. Or, it's just,
Right.
it's the thing just feels Finnish. It doesn't feel like an American hero would be different. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
worse or
Yeah.
better, but they would be different. So, yeah.
And having said that, are we finished?
So I don't know. Hattie, are you finished?
Are you a
I want
mind
to get to
reader?
the. I want to get to the.
Okay, so that would be George, eh?
Actually, for that level of movie, if I put it in its own category, in that little box, I dump it, I'll give it a 10.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, I give it an 8.
I give it a 9.
Wow, I gave it a 7.
Of course you did.
Okay, so
Okay, so that ends this week. You should check out these movies. You
Yeah.
know, really check them out because, a lot of times I'm even completely surprised how much like I wouldn't normally watch this movie, but Lon picked it, so I watched it.
And there will be, supposedly, I saw online, there's supposed to be a Sisu 2.
No,
So
it won't
I'm
be good.
really looking forward to that one.
it's gonna be a female warrior named it's gonna be Susie.
I did sushi already.
Okay, so we remember to like us and all that stuff, and
We'll be back.
we'll be back. We're trying to get to 10,000.
Thank you.